Here we are off the edge with your host Cam Jordan. I'm excited because I get to talk to one of my young legends. When I was young, he was a legend, as well as had some time to play at the same time, as well as a man who used to call Arizona home. Found out it's no longer home for him, but it's fine. I still do. A Vikings for sure legend, a man who played with Kansas City Chiefs and finished with the Panthers. We'll talk about it. Don't forget the stint with Chicago as well.
We try to forget that.
Yeah. My guy, Jared Allen, big dog. How are you feeling? I mean, we could also add the All Pros, the Pro Bowls. 136 sacks. I mean, 5-time Pro Bowler. 4-time All-Time.
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Just enjoying the retired life now. I tell you what, you blink in it, and I can't believe I've been done for almost 9-10 years now, and it's a crazy thing. You're still playing. You're still going.
I'll say it sounds good though.
Oh, it's amazing. I love it. I love it. I saw you on doing some NFL thing the other day, and I was just like, they said 14 years, and I think it's because I know your dad so well, right? That I pictured you as younger and not really I'm like 14 years. I'm like, this dude's definitely longer in the tooth now.
We're still doing it. I mean, come on, you're 80s baby. I'm an 80s baby. Yeah. We had some go through.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's good to see you out there still getting after people, man. It's
love it.
Especially because in this modern day, everything's seems to be like a specific position, right? Everybody's got this he's a pass rusher, he's a run. They're always constantly moving. So to see a 4-down DN still crushing it is awesome.
Yeah, bring the hands to work and bring them every day. I still enjoy choking a good offensive lineman out. And
thank you. I was telling someone the other day, that hands to the face rule, where you can't go to hands to the face you want to go my hands on my face, go for it, because I'm going right back to you.
No doubt.
Right? So you know what? It's getting a little soft in there. In the
a little. Now the referees are stuck behind the offensive line, so they don't even see hands to the face. They just see neck movement. I'm like, come on. Don't do this. They're fat and they're unathletic anyways. Offensive linemen they don't have a neck to push back anyways. What are we talking about?
Yeah, I'm with you.
But I guess I want to go roll right into my first question, because I don't even know if I know the answer to this. Why did you have the number 69? As a kid, we laughed at it all the time, but
No, so dude, no joke. So I was number 41. So I was number 1 in high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my best friend was 45. One of my best friends passed away in high school. So I was going to get 45 going to college for him. And for some reason, they wanted to merge the two, and they gave me 41 in college. So I kept it, right? I was like, all right, cool, whatever. But then back then, when I came in the league, you had to have there was, each position could only be a certain number set.
Right.
And for the round pick, they gave me 69, right? And there was another, speaking of fat offensive lineman, there was fat offensive lineman that with number 69 too. I'm like, geez, this doesn't fare well. One of us can't, one of us isn't making the team. So anyways, I get through camp, obviously, make the team, no problem. And they asked me if I wanted to change it. And my D-line coach, Bob Carmelowitz, he was just tough. I spoke like this, survived throat cancer 14 times. And it was just a hardcore, just no nonsense guy. And he was like, you keep that number. You're an old school player, and you're going to make it. That's an old school number. You keep that number. I don't want to see you in the 90s or anything like that. So I was like, all right, cool, man. So I just kept it. Yeah, a lot of people think it had all the other connotations. I'm like,
yeah,
nope,
it did.
To me. And then a guy I respected told me not to change it. So I was like, cool, I'm in.
Love that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense too. I mean, I like the connotations part, but it's fine. You're in high school, you see Jared Allen with the sack, and you're like, yeah, 69 back at it again.
I'm like, the only thing, being a California kid going to school in California, I got to meet Snoop Dogg once or twice. I got to meet him at the Super Bowl one time. I was like, maybe Snoop will wear my jersey one time because of the number, and he never did.
That'll get you. Come on, come on. Snoop is the only person that's been deemed an unk for the last 40 years. I have no idea how old he is. He's Uncle Snoop, just been around for that long.
He doesn't age. I don't know what it is. He doesn't age.
It's like when he was 20, he looked like he was 40, but now that he's 60, he still looks like he's 40. I haven't been able to.
And on everything.
On everything.
And that's the one guy you don't get tired of seeing on everything.
Loved him as the ambassador to the Olympics.
The best.
Him and Martha Stewart. I was like, this is awesome. But we're not here to talk about it. We're here to talk to you. But you and my dad have kicked it, bro. Like, the last story I heard, like you said, that was back when you owned a piece of a club in like Scottsdale.
Yeah, I used to own restaurants.
El Jefe's?
Yeah, no, I never owned El Jefe. One of an old part. So I owned the Lodge, Sasquatch Kitchen for goodness, like 12 years. I used to own a place called Revolver out there. I'm not sure if you remember that place.
The Red Revolver, the double aura.
Yes, the Red Revolver. So then we sold that, and then I just got out of the Lodge last year. Gave that over to our GM and my other partner, and so yeah, I got obviously being with Minnesota. Your dad's a big name, there, a legend.
So are you?
So are you? Well, I mean, again, when I was playing, and
right.
then so we had our golf tournament with my foundation. When I was in Arizona.
Yeah.
And wanted to get people to. We always wanted to get local guys, and always, some of the older guys, younger guys. We always had a mixed bag of people because our golf tournament was not about anybody who was too that thought they were too important. It was about just having fun and good times. And so, your dad's company, Ryan's company, actually sponsored a couple of events, a couple of holes, came out, and honestly, we just started staying in touch. And then, we grab a couple of beers at the at the pre-party or something like that.
Right.
Always enjoyed talking to him. Your dad became one of my favorite people. Just like his story, his journey, playing in the 80s, was a totally different ball game, and coming out the other side of the strikes and stuff like that. And man, going to Brown University, like to me, like your pops' story is inspiring all across the board for everybody. I mean, he's just a cool dude.
Yeah. A Phoenix kid with two parents that were teachers, and next thing you know, he goes to Brown and somehow puts together a 13-year, 6-time Pro Bowl career.
Just a stud, and then just
a freaking stud. Like, how many kids it takes to create his life story? Like, I'm the football player. My brother has to work in construction. Like it's going to take both sons to equal what Pops did.
Yeah, that's the thing. And then like not even like just what he's an engineer, right? And it's like you have an engineering degree from Brown. You worked at Ryan Company, was like this massive Fortune 500 company. I think I always look at and tell people. And your dad was so awesome to come up to my Ring of Honor ceremony as well. So I was stoked to have him there for that. But yeah, like I view him as like the perfect. Like Jerry West was like the icon of the NBA. Like your dad is what it's supposed to be, right? Like you have a great career, and then you're successful after your career. Like it's awesome.
Yeah, sir, you put yourself in the mold. You freaking have a ranch. You were like a ranch. In fact, how do you go from finishing up in Carolina to living in Arizona to moving to Nashville?
So Arizona was always 2006. I moved to Arizona as my off-season base, right? Was training out there. And my wife out there in 2009. We got married in 2010, but she went to ASU. She's from the Chicago area, but we lived out there for almost like 14 years, right? When I went after I left Minnesota and went into free agency, and then was still there. Went to Chicago. Chicago was a dumpster fire. It's the only time I took the money. Should have just retired. Blew my L5 out. Right. It was like, oh my goodness. And then so I asked them to trade me to Carolina my last year, knowing I was going to retire. Get to Carolina first. For literally no joke, Saturday walk through. We're getting ready to go play Tampa. Rookie quarterback, rookie tackle. I'm like, my hands back in the dirt. I'm like, dude, I'm about to eat this dude alive. Walk through. Bam. Dude runs into my hip. So I'm shaking the camera. L5 blown out again. I was like, Played that game with a busted L5. I couldn't lift my heel off the ground for like 3 weeks after that. Got back, but then after that, I knew I was retired after Carolina Super Bowl. So we went back there, Scottsdale. We lived there about a year. We just finished building our house. Lived there for about a year, and we just got kind of tired of the desert. We wanted seasons again.
Wait, you just finished building the house and then you left a year later?
Yeah, we left a year later. No joke. This is going to sound so stupid,
bro. What?
You understand the difference. So we went from Arizona never having scorpions.
Right.
We built this beautiful house up in Silverleaf, and we lived about
North Scottsdale.
Yeah, we came up from Tahoe. One day, and dude, they were building behind us and left it. And all of a sudden, we must have found like 13 scorpions in the house. My wife was like, "Oh hell no, I'm done. I'm done." My kids were young at the time. My oldest was like, I guess probably like 5. My youngest was 3, and we've been wanting seasons anyways, or some mild seasons. And we loved Carolina. We really did. Charlotte was so much fun. We had such a blast, and I had friends out in Nashville. So we're like, screw it, let's go. And they were going to they had, they were really good schools out here. We're looking for good Christian schools to send our kids to. And then we got here, and it was like circa Phoenix 2000, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. just like everybody moved out here. Every reason we left, like North Scottsdale, we get here. I'm like, if I see one more person drop their kid off in a freaking Ferrari, I'm about to punch somebody. Like we all got money, drive a truck.
That's that. I don't know where these kids are going to find their struggle from. I don't.
Dude, I struggle with that and probably do too. I mean, it's like, you know, even though I remind my kids constantly, just because your mom and I live good doesn't mean you have anything.
Anything.
Yeah, and we work, right? We still, whether it's in the garden, whether it's, you know, on the farm, right? We show our kids, like, listen, we don't have nannies. We don't have, no, and listen, if people's lifestyle are for that, no judgment. That's not our lifestyle. And it's hard, especially when you're, probably I grew up very blue collar, grew up on a horse ranch, right? My dad trained reining cutting horses. And then to have something, I still have that mindset. I still have that in everything I do. I just work, I do it myself. But you try to send your kids to the best schools, you try to send your kids to these things, but then they're surrounded by these, you can't control
kids that have been used to having the best
bricks, and you're just like, but it's like you want to get better to your kids, but at the same time, I'm like, man, you guys do. We need to downsize. Like we need to get rid of all this crap and let them struggle.
I've told wifey in a couple of years, we're going to a 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartment for a year. Like, they're gonna know what ramen noodle in Tampico is.
Get us some bunk beds.
Yeah, like, oh man, we don't have kids like, oh, we're like, when are we going to Hawaii? Bro, I've never even taken all 4 of you to Hawaii. Like, how would you throw that one out there? They've lived in Spain for months at a time. Like, that's on me. That's really my fault because I wanted to expose them to Spanish and wanted them to do better.
But for that, they'll be better. So there's no joke. I think it was a Wall Street Journal article that talked about, like, when you're hiring people, one of the first questions you should ask is have they ever traveled, where they traveled, and how often they travel. Because they said people that travel are basically, way more emotionally intelligent. They have more empathy for other people. They understand other cultures. They can communicate better. They can do that. So that's one thing we definitely do with our kids. And you'd see the looks of people walking by and seeing, like, 2 younger kids. Mine are 10 and 13 now, sitting in that, that business class pod or that first class pod. And they're just sitting there. And they're pissed off. Like, these kids don't need to be up in this.
Well, I think wifey's birthday was 33rd birthday, was a big one for us or whatever. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. We're going to private jet it down in Miami. We're going to go, like, whatever you want to do, we'll do it. Took these kids on a private jet, and they were just like, we flew back Southwest because that's I'm a Southwest Delta guy. Flew back, and my daughter was like, I don't like everybody on the plane. And I was like, I was like, to be clear, that was a one-time thing, baby. We're Southwest people. No, we're going to be together. Economy for the rest of your times.
That companion air. That's what we are.
That's what we are. We're absolutely. We're very much, not so much against any other airline, but we're Southwest people. We're Delta economy pluser.
American Express, we got platinum status with Delta, so I'm a Delta guy. I do like that. I do like my Delta. You know what it is too? I like knowing who's on my seat, because I've had the few times I fly Southwest, it's the worst experience. And
you got to struggle sometimes. That's bring struggle in.
Like experience me, because I don't care. I'm like, all right, I paid a little extra. I got on the plane first, right? I got my leg room. I'm good. 6'6". We need our leg room.
Absolutely.
But what drives me nuts is when other people, for example, I'm sitting there going to Arizona. I'm from Nashville, Arizona. At that time, the only nonstop flight was Southwest. So I'm on Southwest. Got my exit row, and this person sits next to me. All sorts of their parts are spilling over their chair onto me and forcing me to touch things that I don't want to touch, right? Rubbing I'm like, whoa, now you're invading my space.
Yeah.
You're invading my space.
Hey, welcome on into Southwest, baby.
And no joke. I can't even deny it. So they're like, you want the snack? I mean, I don't want the snacks. And the person was like, I'll have your snacks. I was like, no, now I want my snacks. So you don't need those snacks. You're already taking up half my seat. I can't do it. I can't do it. Or when you pay extra on Southwest to get your A group again, and then the people hold over on the plane,
and the exit row's gone.
They move seats, and they take up all the good seats. And I'm like, nope, I don't care where it's at. I need a seat number. I just need a seat number.
I like being humble sometimes. Sometimes you cut it close and you don't make the A group that you think you are. You make that C group, and you have to hold down the middle. And guess where we are? I'm like, and that's my fault for flying Southwest. Yep.
And everybody's pissed off at you because, like, oh, the big guy, you could have at least picked an A group.
Yeah, I tried. Hey, like I like humbling experiences. It makes me better as a person. It reminds me,
It truly does. It truly does.
it is. It look, I can do what I want, but also it's okay to.
I will say, my wife and I, we were traveling the other, we were going to Florida or something. And helped my mother-in-law move, and it was 3-star hotel status. That's what it was.
Mm.
And I can rub. And I've stayed in some of the grossest motels there. But say, as I go, I kind of got a rule. Like, there's a lot of things I can do that I don't have to do anymore. Right? Listen, I can rough it with the best of them. I mean, I can.
You're a rancher.
Yeah, let's get it. We'll go in the woods, whatever. But when I am staying at a hotel,
Wait, did you say the woods?
Some sort of stone on my bathroom countertop. You know what I mean? I'm like a bougie redneck. That's what it is. It's just bougie redneck.
He's like, that's your measure of if you're going to stay in that? Is that ceramic? No.
Like, is that linoleum? Ooh, I don't know if I can do linoleum. I don't have to do linoleum anymore. You know what I
mean? That's your cutoff. You sound like my wife. They're like, oh, is that they have their? Do you see the faucet on there? It's rusted a little bit. I'm like, yeah, it's a little character. Ain't never fix nothing. I don't have hotel standards. I'm a Red Bull fan. I have to.
It's more like she'll check the bed and be like, okay, if there's like other hair, if there's some weird crap going on, she's like, oh. As long as I don't get bed bugs, I'm pretty good.
Yeah, I'm sleeping on top of the covers anyways. Like, it's fine.
I rip all over the pillow. I'm like,
I bring my own pillowcase.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
there's that
when you get married, your wife helps you out in different areas. Wifey, was like, oh yeah, you got to have your own silk pillowcase. I was like, why do I need silk pillowcase? I like this.
I like, right? See,
I like this.
You got a little bougie redneck in you too.
A little bit. I'm like, I don't care where I sleep. I got my pillowcase in the backpack. But let me. I got so off topic. That's on me. I did talk to Peanut Tillman and Big Rome Hart, and they said you were an amazing teammate, but they wanted to talk a little bit about your time in Carolina. Because it's called 2015, and just see if you had any forethoughts on one Thomas Davis and a prayer circle. Prayer in the locker room.
Prayer. Thomas Davis was. Hey, listen. As a Christian, I'm all for prayer anywhere. But sometimes you can't be dropping like F-bombs during the prayer. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no. You gotta get free. Free.
He gets going. So we have this rehearsed. It wasn't rehearsed, but he basically takes Thomas Davis would take some quotes from the Bible, like, if he's for us, who could be against us? Those types of things. Everybody be shouting out. It kind of became this thing. I always thought it was interesting, funny. So I thought Rome was one of my favorite people. I love Peanut. So Peanut and I were in Chicago together too, right? Mm-hmm. And Rome always likes to remind me that he has my Super Bowl ring because good old New Orleans Saints and back in 2009, freaking you guys. And so we always joke that we were going to win one together. And then let the past be the past. And then Peanut says he's the best. He's a prankster and love. So I'll tell you a funny story about Chicago though. So I got pneumonia in Chicago. And busted. I mean, Chicago was rough. I busted my L5. Literally, got pneumonia. I lost like 19 pounds in like a 7-day span, right? So I missed the Green Bay game, and I come back from playing Carolina. We're actually playing Carolina. So I get, we got to wear a suit on the plane. So I come, and my suit no longer is like this around my neck. It's like this, right? So I got my cowboy hat on, everything like that. So Peter starts calling me DBC, Dallas Buyers Club.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so it's stuck. If you call me DBC the whole rest of the year, because I just look deathly sick.
You look hungry.
Oh, dude. And so yeah, that was a good time. But yeah, Thomas Davis, the prayer circles are always great. Man, I just did. We had so much fun in Carolina that year. It sucked not to win the Super Bowl. You talk about being humbled. That was one of those years, and as an older guy and a pass rusher in the league, but you expect to stay at a level that you expect, right? You don't play to anybody. You don't play the standard of your team. You play to your standard.
Absolutely.
And, it was frustrating my last year dealing with those injuries and stuff like that. And then, knowing I was going to retire because I wasn't willing to put the work in to be at the standard I deemed necessary. But it was humbling because it was like statistically one of my worst years I've ever, I played. But from a team standpoint, it was our best. Got to play in the Super Bowl. It was great. And that's why, Carolina will always hold, a special time and place in my heart because we had so much fun. Sean McDermott, like I love that guy. I came in, I was like apologizing to him. I was like, man, coach, I've been hitting the quarterback, man. I got to get these sack numbers up to help us. And he threw on my run tape, right? And he's like, we don't have anybody at setting edges like this right now. And so I was like, it was humbling, right? Because sometimes you get so caught up in what the flashy stuff is, you forget that, football's a team sport, and sometimes you have a role to play, and sometimes, it ain't the role you want to play, right? But we're winning games, and, Carolina was great, Thomas Davis was great, Rome's my guy, Peanut freaking joined the FBI, like that dude's, they're nuts.
Hey, he showed you that edge run play. Did he make you start playing 3 technique?
No, that was, I was never going to be that heavy, right?
Good for you, bro. Hey, look, this year it happened for me. I'm like, I came in the lightest I've ever been, like 270 something, 272, 273, 274. And this year, like, hey, third down, go rush against the guard. And I was like, no, that's not what I do. No. In fact, rush against the center. We're gonna have these young guys on this edge. And I'm like, what did I do to deserve this?
Yeah, right. You're like, all I've done is ever whooped everybody on the edge, and now you're gonna bring me into 3 technique. Well, that's the thing. 270 is like a D tackle these days.
Yeah, if you're Aaron Donald.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole nother beast right there.
Yeah, keep the Vita Veas, the Dexter Lawrence's,
Yes, I love seeing
Chris Jones's.
And the dude gets to the quarterback, he stops the run, right?
It's a force.
It's like I remember I used to tell our D-line coach all the time too. I used to hate when we would go our nickel package, right? And then we would go green and have 2-3 techniques, because I'm like, now all you're doing is out in the center of the scan. I was like, I used to love a big dookie. Pat Williams was right there on the nose.
Oh, the Williams wall. I played with Big Cam Dub.
Yeah, he's going to get 3 yards deep. No one's not stopping Pat from getting 3 yards deep.
Nobody.
So, and now the guard has to respect him. And if the guard comes to me, he's going to win. If not, I got a one-on-one. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of keeping the big guys in there, even when you're pass rushing.
Keep the big guys in. Look, you don't need 4 dancing bears. Sometimes you need a warthog or 2.
Yeah, 100%.
Push that big-ass pocket, and guess what the ends can do?
Yep.
Anything they want.
I used to tell the D tackles all the time. I said, if you get 3 yards deep every pass rush and stay in your lane, I promise you I'll get you 5 sacks. Easy. 3 or 5 sacks, I'll chase them right to you.
Absolutely. They're going to step up and they're yours.
You start thinking you're something you're not, and you get my way, we're going to have a problem.
and every year, you're going to get a D tackle like, oh, I like to do the swim or the rip or the chop. You're like, well, actually, you're 6 yards up the field, bro. I didn't ask you to be there.
Yeah,
I need interior rushers to be 3 to 4 yards up the field and be able to play both gaps. And I need you to go ahead and stop the screens. That's your job.
100%. So, I think the game has shifted. There's so many hybrids now. There's so many this, but you go back and there's still some teams out there getting it. I like what Denver did this year.
Right.
And they got some big guys in the with DJ Jones. I think he played as
DJ Jones, Zach Taylor. Yeah.
Zach Allen, right? Yeah.
Zach Allen. Why did I say Zach Allen?
Player too. Yeah. DJ. I like DJ from the standpoint, like he can do it both, but he's another one of those old school kind of nose tackles, right? He actually played 3, but he's that interior D lineman that's what he does. Zach's kind of could flex a little bit, I think, in modern day.
But he's a disruptor.
Yeah, but you got guys like Nick Benito who know their role. Right? They are going to come off the edge. And I think you saw how they got 63 sacks this year. And when I watched their film, guys knew their role in their responsibilities in the pass rush game. And that's a good solid interior allows your edge guys to have 2-way go.
They get freaky, absolutely.
Has a 2-way go, you are good. At some point, you're killing a tackle.
Jonathan Cooper on the other side going crazy. Yep. Like you look up and it's 13 sacks one side, 11 sacks the other side, 6 sacks in the middle, like 8 sacks there. Like you could piece together quite a good time.
And that's the thing, and that's where coaches kind of got to get in the way. That's why I love Jamar King. So I was able to not this year, the year before, I did some consulting with Denver, and it was really cool. I got worked with Jamar and Mike Wilhoit and those guys, and even talking with coaches, giving the player perspective is really allowing, because so many coaches too, they want to get into this aspect of like, well, we got to push the middle, we got to cage them on the outside, especially in this. I mean, you know better than me. We didn't have that many mobile quarterbacks when I was playing, right? This whole era of crazy athletic quarterbacks. I think coaches kind of they chase ghosts and they get scared and they don't allow their guys to take their shot. I mean, you have to shoot your gun. So that's why it's so important to have guys on the same page and have middle push that you see color, replace color, but you got to allow your talented guys to have two-way goes. You got to allow them to throw. Otherwise, you get into these things where these quarterbacks are too good. They can scramble, they can pat the ball, they'll tear you apart.
It hurts you in the ground and in the air. Then you just sitting there stuck.
Yep.
We got to cage him, but he's killing us in the air. But we got to get after him, but he's killing us with his feet. Yeah, you get stuck.
Coach ever told me, I would. Oh man, it was dang near a fight if I heard the word cage rush coming out of some coach's mouth on the sidelines. But then why am I here? You want a cage rush? Go get Jags. You just put 2 Jags on the edge. Let them push the
Look, I was okay with it. I'm like, yo, I'm a power rusher anyways. Cage rush because I'm on the left side and we're facing a right-handed quarterback. I get it, but you got to let the other defensive end go eat then.
Yeah,
like if he's right-handed quarterback, that means the guy on the other side got to be able to have the inside move ready.
As you know, though, you also got to earn the right to miss, right? You got to earn the right.
Thanks.
I tell people all the time the difference between greatness and failure. This much. Absolutely. I took a lot of chances. The only reason I'm considered great is because I made the plays. If I miss them, I probably would have washed out. But
hey, I tell guys all the time, like, hey, pressures are cool. Sacks will come. But if they don't, and all you are is a pressure guy.
Nowadays, have you seen some of these stats they make?
They love the pressure. Like, he led the league in pressures every year. What does that do for you?
He has 3 sacks. The guy has 3 sacks, but he's led the league. He's the number 1 defensive player for pressures, QB hits, and attempted sacks. I'm like, geez, get out of here.
I'm like, and that's a stat that nobody will care about when he's done playing.
Right? No, yeah, absolutely. It's amazing how they find ways to create hype on some of these guys.
Yeah, feel like Brad Pitt when he was Achilles. Like, that's why nobody else will remember your name. Pressures, QB hits. Like, did you get him down? Yes or no? Like, we can talk about the theory of getting him down, but like that's what that is. It's theory.
100%. Yeah, you got to get that. That's step 1, but eventually you got to make it happen. And that's why I'm and I look at guys, I watch you rush, especially these top guys that rush.
Trey Hendrickson going crazy this year.
A lot of these top guys are on the left. That's my problem. My only point I don't like about some of these top tier guys, go to the right side. Go one-on-one with the best tackle, and let's see what happens.
I don't know if they're the best tackles anymore. Honestly,
no, 100%. I agree with you.
And honestly, I now look at the right ends like you sort of had it easy. Like, or if you're on the left, you're a left end or whatever you're going against their left tackle, you're a right end, and you're going against the better tackle. You're also in the quarterback's blind spot. Yeah, like he doesn't see you at all.
That's why I love it. So that's how I got put over there, right? That's back in the day. They're like, the best tackle is going to be on the blind spot. You want to be the best, you got to go against the best. I see, guys kind of move around, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Again, you're right. The tackle play though, it's not the same. It's not the same when you first came in either. And so it's funny to see the shift because when I was in the league, I mean, everybody who was in the top tier was a right end.
Right.
It's flopped now. Almost everybody in the top tier is a left end.
Yeah.
Right. So I argue, I wonder, Trent Williams probably still the only true solid like left tackle from back in the day a little bit. But yeah, maybe with these mobile quarterbacks at shift, they're putting the best players.
They're put the best players.
They're putting the best player on the right now because the right ends or the left ends might be getting more one-on-ones because now they know the quarterbacks can see them and they're gone anyway. So what do they care about their blind side?
Yeah, don't have to worry about the blind side. He's about to be out of here. If he can't get the ball off at the first, second read, he's gone anyways.
Yeah, because you go back and look at Philly. What Lane Johnson was kind of their all pro. He was the right tackle.
Right.
That's interesting. I got to take a look at that because I think maybe the dynamics shift, and that's why you're seeing the top guys over on the left.
As quarterbacks get more mobile, you don't need if you gotta just a guy on the protect the blind side, that's fine. Because again, it's first read, second read out.
Yeah.
You got guys that can make it work.
And I guess then you want your best, and then you're going to want your best pass rusher in his vision.
Right.
Right. You're going to want him looking at you. That makes sense. That's what I love about football. The game's always changing.
It's always evolving. Speaking of evolving, like, you're 9 years out now, about to be 10 years out. That's crazy to think about. In the history of the NFL, I looked up, it's just you and one Arizona native, Terrell Suggs, that have over 130 something sacks. You at 136. T Sizzle's got to be somewhere around there, 138 ish.
Yeah.
You two are the only ones above 130 without the HOF. When is it calling your name?
Oh man, to be honest with you, I thought I should have been in. Yeah, I should have been in 3 years ago. I've been since I was eligible. I've been a finalist. This is my 5th time as a finalist. I know Terrell Suggs. He's a finalist this year. It's his first year of eligibility. Man, I don't know why. I don't know why they haven't put me in, dude. To be honest, I tell them all the time. I'm like, it clearly isn't because of my numbers. So I probably pissed somebody off along the way.
Man,
you can't say that to me. So I to be honest, I thought I was going to go in. My 2nd year, I was pretty bummed I didn't get to go in. 3rd year, especially like me and DeMarcus Ware have pretty much identical careers. And then so he went on his 2nd ballot. Freeney, who I got more numbers, less time than him. He went in a 2nd ballot. Somehow I'm sitting around in my 5th ballot. All are great players. I think that's my beef with the Hall is like they make you start kind of like second guessing, and you're like, well, hold on, I've been out 10 years. There's nothing I can do about it, right? I'm
right.
And
call them back for one more season.
Yourself. Like, I'm a massive fan of Julius Peppers. I'm a massive fan of all these guys. They're all great players, but the reality is, when I played, nobody had more sacks than me in the 12 years I played. And so it's hard to understand why I'm not in yet, but hopefully this will be the year. If not, but at the end of the day, that's not the reason I played. I truly played this game for the respect of my peers and the respect of those who played before me. So, sitting here talking with you, and then you have the unique perspective of having a dad who's in the Ring of Honor in Minnesota, and being able to talk to guys like your dad and them telling me, hey, Jared, you played the game right. Like, that means more to me than any gold jacket, for the people believe it or not. I mean, the Hall of Fame is one of the greatest honors you could ever have. I would wear that thing with honor. But at the end of the day, I'm not kissing the ring. I'm not playing the political game. If the product I put on the field, if it doesn't stand the test of time, or you don't think I'm good enough, then just say that, right? Let it be what it's going to be. Don't put me in the finals. That's fine. But if it is, put me in. Let's stop playing this song and dance, because I'm not playing the.
Right. Stop playing me.
Yeah. Right. You know what I mean? Like, my numbers speak for themselves. And again, Suggs, what do you got, 17 years, something like that?
Right.
I was big on my average, and they don't really give you criteria. That's the thing that frustrates you. They don't tell you really why you don't make it.
Right.
You do criteria. I've heard things from like, oh, if you would have played, a couple more years and had 4 more sacks, you would have walked in first ballot. And for me, my average, I was actually pissed I dropped below 12 a year. But it's probably not the right thing, but it's a great motivation. Gunther Cunningham, God rest his soul. When I came in the league, he was like, hey, Derek Thomas averaged 12 sacks a year. You aren't worth your salt unless you average 12 sacks a year. That's what he as a rookie. So, now you got a rookie who all he cares about is getting to the quarterback. But that's how I measured myself. And I cared so much about making sure I was in that, that roughly that 12 sack a year average. And then again, just, with the injuries, I played in the Super Bowl with a busted foot, busted my L5 twice. But, no one really knows about those things because I kept playing. I played through them. And absolutely. I believe that if 70% of me was better than the guy behind me. And that's kind of the other thing. It's hard for me to look at some of these guys that, I still got a torn pec. I played 09 with a complete torn pec. Guys that miss full seasons, with some of these injuries that I've played through. I mean, teach their own. I just, maybe that makes them smarter than me. I probably should have got fixed up. I could have had 150 sacks, been in the Hall of Fame already.
I was like, hey, you just took a couple weeks off. Nah, bro, I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing about that life.
I hope we get in. I love, man. Tisa is one of my favorite guys. Like I said, he another ASU guy. I used to love watching him play in college. And I'll give you guys. You want to hear one of the funniest Terrell Suggs stories ever? It's not even him. It was one of his friends. We were on the plane going to Hawaii, and Hawaiian Airlines nonstop from Phoenix to Honolulu. And we're sitting in first class. And so they come around with the Pog juice. You give you those Pog juice when you get on the plane. And one of his buddies was sitting behind me. And so he goes, excuse me, ma'am, can I get a vodka cranberry? And the flight attendant brings him a vodka cranberry, and he goes to pay. And she said, oh, no, the drinks are complimentary up here. And the amount of excitement this dude got was like, hey, he started yelling to his buddies up at the other front across we were like the back left of first class. They were the front right of first class. Hey, yo, dog, the vodka cranberries are free up here.
It's a party. It's about to go down.
I was like, man, he was so excited. I'm ordering a vodka cranberry.
I have what he's having. Hell yeah.
Oh man, I was dying laughing, and Suggs is sitting there shaking his head, cracking up, smiling. His buddy, I mean, he was elated. And I was like, that should be. Everybody should have that same joy when they're flying first class.
Hell yeah. So you guys that's back when the Pro Bowl was in Hawaii. That was a good time.
Yeah, yep.
I caught that. I think I caught the last. My first 2 Pro Bowls were in Hawaii.
So when was your first one? So we was it would have been
13?
So actually they did
13?
11 or 12. One of them,
I think 14 was Arizona, but
yeah,
it was
11 came back. So we went to Orlando, I think, in like that 09, 10. So that 10 Super Bowl was down to Fort Lauderdale,
mhm.
Miami Pro Bowl. The first year they moved it from Hawaii. It was a miserable fail, and then they moved it back to Hawaii.
Miami can't be a miserable fail.
Dude, no, because they didn't rent out the entire hotel.
Ah.
And guys, were no joke. We had dudes coming from the club to the game. It was like the NFL sent like 4 people home that year. It was just like, all right, we're going back to Hawaii. So yeah, I played at 12, and then I think you're right. I think 13 and then 14.
Was all, yeah.
Yeah.
13 was for sure Hawaii because I was like, I'm here. I was like, yes.
Yes.
And then 15 had 15 season. I think like the next year, I think they went to Arizona, or maybe the year before that. They went to Arizona and then came back to Hawaii. And my son was born. I was like, I've finally done it. Pops took me to Hawaii when he made the Pro Bowl. I took my son to Hawaii. We make the Pro Bowl. This is awesome. Yeah, I was like, this full circle.
I made my first trip ever. I no joke, never went to Hawaii until I made the Pro Bowl. So
was that all by design?
I went to Hawaii, and then I got to bring my daughter. You know, she was 3 months old. I got to bring her over there a few times, so it was nice.
Right. Hey, like I said, full circle. It comes back. Yep,
full circle.
Yeah. 2015, my son was born, so it's 2016 then.
Okay.
So, yeah. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Wifey was pregnant with our second one already.
Young kids over there. I was retiring in 2016.
Yeah, 20, you know.
I gave him out. I gave him a dozen. No more. No more.
And let me ask you this Hall of Fame situation, is it you have to go to like the hotel and then like if it's knock on the door? Or
I got lucky in that. So COVID, they ended that, man. No joke. I was at the Super Bowl. So they used to bring the top 15 out, and they would parade you around like you were basically in the game all week. I mean, you and your wife all dressed up, ready to go to the ceremony. And then if you either get the knock or the call. If you get the call, you pack it up and hit the road.
Right.
And I mean, I watch these guys on the plane just like dejected. I'm like, that's not honor. And that's my problem, right? They're not. It starts out this big honor at the final 15. By the way, they already cut to 10. So there's 5 people automatically don't even get to get voted on, right? Then in that 10, they cut to the final 5, and then they do the up down vote for 70%, right? And so it's like, you know, they really could, in my opinion, could just have 5 finalists, right? And be like baseball, and then be transparent. You either get 70% of the vote or you don't, right?
Right.
You can put in baseball, you can put as many in as you want or as little in as you want. So I think what happens is you get to this point where you guys are being celebrated, and then it's this axe, and then they just kind of disregard you. After you're not in, you just kind of get disregarded, and they ask you to kind of carry on the ruse until the NFL honors show, and you're like, man, that's not a way to honor guys' career. And then you're pitting guys, you're like, well, then now listen, you're comparing guys who you're fans of, who you're probably friends with, and it's this kind of this feeling of like, man,
you made a pseudo war out of it.
Well, yeah, it's like, and then you get guys, you know, again, it takes the stinger away from me. Like, again, I think about the Hall of Fame for the couple of weeks I'm a finalist, and then afterwards, last year I haven't been mad. I'm like, then I'm pissed. I'm like, why am I even pissed? There's nothing I can do about it. Who cares? I go about living my life, right? My kids are still going to love me. My wife loves me. I still got chores to do. My life doesn't change. And, but you know, it's just sad because it really, you take this stance where you should be honoring these guys. And there's a moment where it becomes almost like just a show, or you got guys that just feel so rejected, and they shouldn't have to feel that way. And so, you know, and I get it. It's not everybody gets in, not everybody can, but at some point, you know, 6, 7, 8, 9 times in the finals, you're like, come on. If you keep putting the guy, just put him in. Nothing's changing. All you're doing is telling me is you're waiting for someone who you deem weaker than me for me to surpass. That's all. Right. Right. It's like, all right, now you're the cute girl amongst the ugly people. All right, now you're in.
Now you're in. Man, we like this class. Yeah. No doubt. Gosh.
So I think they can
things
put
not to look
together,
forward to.
but at the end of the day, it is what it is, and it's a great honor to be in the finals. It's a great honor to be considered. Again, my true elation comes from when guys that I revere as some of the best players ever, tell me I did it right, or when I'm talking to guys like you or guys that I played against, other old linemen, my name comes up and they just knew there was a lunch pail type of day when they had to play me, and
Right.
that's why I don't have regrets. I can hang my head high. I was never cut, nothing like that. So even though I didn't win a Super Bowl, got to experience it, it is what it is.
I'll say, do you think that's one of the things that holds you back is not having a Super Bowl, which I think
Yeah,
is a very much quarterback winning type stat?
100%, because in the Super Bowl we lost. I mean, we held the Broncos 186 total yards. What more can I do? And that's what they told me. So they put a Ware in. They said Ware won the Super Bowl over you. I'm like, okay, but the next year it's like, okay, what's the excuse now?
Right.
what's the next excuse? And so they'll probably say Suggs beat me out for Defensive Player of the Year, so they'll give it to him over me.
Ooh, I remember that was the year you went for like 22.
22, yeah.
It was Wrangle was real.
I actually had 23. Go back and look at it. I physically sacked Aaron Rodgers for my 23rd sack. And then Wednesday, they took it away from me because they said he muffed the ball and they gave it a team sack.
Team sack.
Team sack.
I've seen 2 or 3 lose my way for the team sack. Like I was the closest one to him when he was falling out of bounds, but team sack. Or I think I stripped the ball out of Brett Hundley's hands as he was a quarterback for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
And Alex Okafor had tackled him, but I stripped the ball. So that's a strip sack my way.
Yeah.
It was like I got the fumble and he got the sack. And I said, what the fudge?
Which is crazy because, dude, that's not how it used to be. I actually lost a sack in, I think it was like 07, maybe, no, 06. Same thing. I had Phillip Rivers or something like that wrapped up. Tom Bahali comes in and punches the ball out. So back then, whoever forced the fumble got the full sack. No joke, I have a half sack, so I actually should have 137. And it's on film. The Monday Night Football game, I had 4.5 against Aaron Rodgers. Not only did I hit him first, I stripped the ball, and Brian Robinson comes over and finishes it off. And we were on the ball. They gave me a half sack. I even turned it in. They're like, sorry.
No, this makes perfect sense. How does this make perfect sense?
It does. And the muff, even when the ball used to go over the quarterback's head and they would fall down, and whoever touched them would get the sack, right? Now it's a team sack. So the one with Aaron, he scoots up in the pocket, he runs into Newhouse, drops the ball, picks it back up, rolls out. He's still eligible to throw the ball. Right. I tackle him with the ball. That's a sack. Nope. They call it a muff team sack. I'm like, but I physically tackled him. He still could have thrown the ball.
Correct.
Technically, I'm on the team, so I should at least get half of that. But no go. So,
Jesus.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Spilt milk, I guess, but it's not.
It's grapes. Like,
it's real grapes.
The Gastineau, I'm not sure you probably saw the Mark Gastineau Brett Favre confrontation.
Man, absolutely.
I'm never going to go that far with it. I laugh about it. It is what it is. I've gotten some sacks I probably didn't deserve. Orlovsky running out the back of the end. But
right.
But that's what it is, man. It's crazy how much some of this stuff affects guys. And then back to my whole take on the Hall of Fame is I'm lucky that, again, I know where my identity is at, right? My identity is in Christ, my family, all that stuff.
Facts.
There's dudes out there that, man, this means the absolute world to them. And those highs and lows can be detrimental to their life. And maybe that's not the Hall of Fame's responsibility, but you don't have to pile on to it either.
True. I mean, eventually you're gonna get in there, and I can't not see you getting in this year. But like you and Sizzle should definitely lead that charge.
I hope so. It'll be fun. And then you know what? They're gonna do it this year, where I'm gonna have to go back to New Orleans.
Come on in. It's gonna be you. It's gonna be Terrell Suggs. It's gonna be Jari Evans, and then we'll figure the rest out. We'll figure the rest out.
Every time I go back, I have to go to New Orleans. I cry. I'm like, man, freaking 2009. Freaking hate this place. I hate it.
Come on, y'all paid it back. Vikings paid it back like twice. You had a Kyle Rudolph push off at the back of the end zone. Then you had Stephon Diggs, surgeons of being a wide receiver.
Yeah, I know.
Minnesota Miracle. So that's 2-1.
Yeah, it doesn't affect me though.
But it affected me.
It did. I know.
Yeah.
Like I said, Rome likes to remind me he's just keeping my ring warm for me.
Man, that's at least y'all didn't win. Yeah, Vikings definitely didn't go on to win it. So I was like, I'm cool with it. Fine.
Yeah, well, dude, and then so Sean calls me, Peyton, literally after the game, right? He called me. So what? That was Sunday night. So he called me like Monday or Tuesday, and he's like, "Hey, what we did, chip blocking you, those Y-off schemes, like you think that'll work against Freeney and all those guys, blah 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 blah." I'm like, Sean, you're lucky we have cool friends because I want to punch you in the throat right now. But yes, do what you did to me, and you have success and win the Super Bowl. And sure enough, there they go, they did.
Absolutely. Golly. Yeah, they did. Man, I couldn't imagine. I've always wanted to know what it feels like just to even be on the same field for a chance to win a Super Bowl. My highest honor is NFC Championship, and I'm like, damn, that was dope.
Yeah,
one more game.
I almost feel like the Super Bowl was dope, right? It was cool. You get that kind of feeling like you're there. So a lot of the kind of excitement just kind of drains because you're there, right?
Right.
Where the great teams are like, we're there to win it. But the NFC, AFC, the two NFC championship games I've been to, I mean, the one I lost, obviously one I won. I mean, losing the NFC championship is worse than losing the Super Bowl because at least you're there. And the NFC championship, you're like, hold up, I was one game away from the Super Bowl, and now I'm 20 games away from the Super Bowl again, just like that. And, sucks.
Yeah. Or you may not make the playoffs again. Like, you don't know.
Yeah. And you're a loyalist, man. You're sticking with those Saints.
I love them. I love them until they don't love me no more. I love them.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Yeah, that is what it is. So I hope we get there next year.
Yeah, you guys. Quarterback matters. You know what I'm saying?
Quarterbacks do. Quarterbacks definitely do. It'd be even greater to have them all 17 games now. Instead of a half a season and a half a season.
Yeah, you guys have been hit by that injury bug.
Huge.
And what sucks, and I was telling someone the other day, it's like, you really have like these 4 to 5, year blocks, right? And the good teams know how to, elongate that through draft picks and make sure they got young guys and keeping a veteran culture. But I mean, you guys got, I just went blank on the running back's name. Dude's like
Alvin Kamara. Yeah.
Stupid athlete, right? I mean, dude's a OD. But be honest, and again, I don't get to see a lot of New Orleans games, but I would argue, the last 4 or 5 years of his career have been, not, I don't want to say wasted because they're never wasted because you're still balling, but
you don't say that.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
They're not capitalized upon.
They're not capitalized on, right? Because you're like, okay, now all of a sudden when we get the right parts of this dude who's so dynamic is, pushing 30, 31, 32, 33. And, we didn't capitalize on the years we had one of the most dynamic players in the game.
Yeah. When you had paired him with the Mike Thomas and then you had paired him with Drew Brees that last, last 2 years, you see everything that you can see. Yeah. Yeah.
I always say when guys have a dip or anything like that, it's usually because there's a coaching or a culture change and they're just not being used in the way. And then you're the anomaly, right? At 14 years, still out there getting, because
even people.
Yeah, but even those edge guys, think about your defense. Like even in Minnesota, I mean, we had an insane defense, right?
Right.
And at that, we had that 4 or 5 year stretch, and then all of a sudden injury bugs, and we weren't doing a good job replacing guys that were getting hurt, and then you kind of dip off. But yeah, it's a tough league, and so New Orleans, you guys were, that was a tough spot to be, as an opponent for many years.
Facts. Well, to hopefully many more, not many more, but a few more, and like a couple.
You're going to be 4 years in, still getting it.
Jesus, no. God loves everybody, including me. But no, we will see. Now I look at guys like Calais Campbell, and I'm like, 17, 18, that's a whole nother realm. Yeah. 15 is doable. I like 15, and then we'll talk about 16.
It's a good round number.
Yeah. After 15, I have to talk to the family. Like I've never had an answer to anybody, and I was like, I'm going to 15, and nobody's ever pushed back. After 15, there's going to be some pushback. You said.
Yeah, absolutely.
Once we get to the you said, days are numbered.
More about you than us now. We're comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyways, I appreciate you tapping in with the podcast, bro. I've kept you here for almost an hour. I thank you so much for even spending some time with us. I do hope you get in this year.
I appreciate it.
Which means I'll see you down here in New Orleans because, I'll be here. I'll be working.
You have to take care of me because I can be honest, I don't have a lot of fans in New Orleans. I have said some very bad things about New Orleans. So.
Come on, I've had a good time. I've had good times in Atlanta, and I know they hate me. So you'll be just fine here. You know, as bad as you talked about them, they still won the Super Bowl, so they don't hold anything.
True. They actually thanked me. They're like, thanks for losing the game. Appreciate it.
That part. Hey, I appreciate you, broski.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully we get to connect soon and actually meet in person and then have a cold one.
Hell yeah. I'll bring the tequila because I'm more of a tequila guy than beer guy, but
got that too.
There we go.